What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some more Dragon Ball FighterZ. So a couple of weeks ago, I decided to go back and check out a Season 1 match with my old Season 1 team, Kid Buu, Cell, and Andrew 16. So I wanted to go back to Season 2 as well, and in my opinion, Season 2 is split into two parts, basically. Pre-GT and post-GT. I guess you could have a 2.5 in there where you have a Universal Fuzzy being really strong. But I wanted to look at actually what was Season 2 like before GT dropped. Now, as a quick side note, the World Tour last year started at CEO, so at that point GT was out, I think, for like a couple of months, I believe, like 2 months. Goichi won Combo Breaker, I believe, with GT. That was the first tournament with GT, but it was not a World Tour event. If you like this video or any of the other content I'm putting out, please consider liking this video or subscribing to the channel if you already have not, or do both. It does help the channel grow and I really would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so I decided to go actually with Xanadu because the first version of this, the Season 1 video, I was playing as Xanadu, so I figured let's see what happened in a year. So a lot of things changed, right? Season 1 Dragon Ball, you know, I spent the first half of the year playing Kid Buu. I spent the second half of the year playing Ginyu. I had a couple of talks with people, and after the Season 1 World Tour Finals, I decided to pick up Bardock and Yamcha and try to figure out who to play with them. So originally I was playing Majin Buu. That did not go so well. We can talk about that another time. And I settled into this team, the Bardock, Trunks, Yamcha. Bring my boy Trunks back. Kid Buu, Bardock, Trunks basically was around forever. Like, this team still exists in Season 3. It was good in Season 1 and it was really good in Season 2. There's the first down. So another thing I definitely would want to point out, and you could see it already, there is a lack of certain things that people did at the end of Season 1 and at the end of Season 2. So the obvious one would be like Snap, right? I played a Snap team in Season 1 and Season 2. I played Piccolo at the end of Season 1. I played Team Gohan, GT SSJs at the end of Season 2. Here, and I feel this way about the beginning of Season 3 as well. I don't know, of course, what would happen in Season 3 if there were tournaments, like how the meta would be moving. But I actually feel like the post-character patch, Season 2, pre-GT, a lot of people look at it kind of fondly. It was early, but it was kind of this experimental phase as well. Like, yeah, in this case, Sage, New Jersey Sage, is playing basically the same team he always played. But you saw a lot of people messing around with new characters, messing around with new teams. For me, Bardock was definitely a new character. I never touched him in Season 1. Same with Yamcha, never touched him in Season 1. The only returning character on this team is Trunks. The game, I kind of felt this way at the beginning of Season 3 too, until I started developing stuff. It's just kind of a brawl. Like, we're just kind of fighting. A lot of like the really cheap stuff from Season 1 is gone. You gotta remember too that Season 1 had multiple patches. There's like the SSJ Vegeta patch, and then there was like an Evo patch. Then they kind of patched again, like in like November or something. That was probably like the last major patch of Season 1. In Season 2, we got 2 patches, but that was it. And very, very early, there was the patch that changed the system. But then, like, you know, Gotenks was still super powerful. And then there was the character balance that we were all waiting for. That happened about a month or so before. Actually, maybe sooner than that. I would say like maybe a couple weeks before this specific event. So this is kind of like the game that people wanted. Like, people were pretty happy with Season 2 at this point. I was pretty happy with Season 2 overall, I think. Like, the way the character changes went is, you know, there were a lot of character movements. Like, at this time, like, people didn't know about base Goku or base Vegeta. I was feeling like Trunks was really strong, but most people didn't have that high of an opinion of him. Of course, Team Gohan was like unknown at this time. GT Goku wasn't out yet, so we didn't know about that really. So a lot of our understanding was kind of based on Season 1. Again, another character that we didn't know about at this time was like Broly. It was really early in the season. Despite there only being one character patch the whole year, the tiers actually changed quite a bit. Like, people's opinions on the characters changed quite a bit because they have a lot of time to refine. I do understand on from the perspective of like a casual player, like you get tired of these things really fast. Like you're not competing, so it's like you don't want to deal with these things. Like you don't want to sit and figure out how to fight GT Goku, or you don't want to figure out how to fight Bardock or UI Goku or whatever it is that's like the new thing to complain about, right? But if the game moves like that over a year with no patch, it actually shows a pretty good side of the game. The thing about Season 1 is that we mostly changed the game so much. I mean, they patched the game so much that I don't think we actually got as far as we could have. I think Season 1 was actually super cursed, especially like pre-SSJ Vegeta. Despite me thinking that there's really only two, like, for example, two anchors that exist, like 16 and SSJ Vegeta, I do think there was a lot of characters that were super underexplored. And it's the reason why we got stuff like the crazy strong Gotenks. Even though Gotenks got nerfed multiple times, it was like top tier. Though Gohan, Yamcha. Yamcha was another good one. Yamcha was pretty slept on until Kazunoko won CEO with him, etc. Right? But this Season 2 footage, and also like I feel the same about Season 3, the game like kinda resets. Like people don't really have that crazy like general macro level strategies. Like this team, basically my team is like, oh, Bardock is top tier still, Yamcha is an amazing anchor, we all know it, I could play neutral and not have to worry about super dash at the same time, Trunks has a good anti-air assist, and that's pretty much it. As opposed to like later in the year, for example, playing Team Gohan GT SSJ, there was a lot more to that team, like multiple strong anti-airs, damage out of control, conversion ability into snap, into fuzzies, how good that Team Gohan was at comboing its Spear Bomb, like directly using tag and stuff like that. There was a lot more development there, mostly because of how we all learned how to play the game better over the year. This is kind of pretty much, and this is pretty much true of just the beginning of each season in general. This is basically the game at its floor. Like, we're kind of brawling, you know, we're dealing with super dash, we're doing the knockdown system, we're trying to get these hits, sparking is there, you know, we're using characters we think are good. Like Sage's team is, again, I said it before, it's a really good team in every season. Kid Buu, Bardock, Trunks is one of the main examples of Trunks being good as an anchor, because Trunks supports the other characters really well. So on the one hand, it's like, it's Season 2, but there's nothing crazy to see here yet, because we have no GT and not no like crazy strategies with teams. Right now, people are mostly picking what they think is good. So I feel like at this point too, oh, look at Sage. He looks so Sage-like in this outfit. But at this point, I feel like the devs kind of know what they want the game to be and what they don't want it to be. So, for example, in the Season 1 video, there was a thing like the cross-up. I had a lot of things to like point out, like, oh, peep this crazy mix-up, peep this cross-up that Kid Buu can do, peep this like glitch that he could do, because remember he had the beam, the candy glitch they took out. At this point, they have a much clearer idea of the game. Again, we didn't find a lot of stuff yet, but it is much more, I would say, straightforward at this point. The good news too, though, is that we know how to play the game better at this point than Season 1, of course. Defensively, offensively, what type of things you use to like interact with people, things like that. Looking at this here, we do run the same shell, Bardock Trunks. Again, it's only one assist, right? It's just mobile and lots of screen control at this point. You're not seeing anything really crazy from me per se. Kid Buu, that character is eternal as he is right now, just thinking about it. Like, I feel like if I made a Season 2 post GT video and then like in the future what Season 3 was like, we will still be talking about that little kid, Kid Buu, my old friend. Here's Yamcha just doing his thing. And what I mean by like what the devs want the game to be, you know, it's a lot of like RP, especially if you fall into this too. It's a lot of like guesswork in basically technically almost every situation, and what you're trying to do is just mitigate that guesswork. So between stuff like you're never that heavily advantageous, neutral stuff revolving around super dash, When I say not advantageous, I mean, you know, overheads are even, Vanish +2, most characters don't have plus moves, stuff like that. You're playing that game, the knockdown system that I talked about a million times before. So, I mean, this team was just my first attempt at dealing with that. A really common thing that I like to do, especially, I guess this happens at the beginning of seasons in general. I try to have multiple characters who get level 3s to kind of help me out with that. My boy's rushing me down here. Nice jab. This is basically it. It's a pretty pure Dragon Ball, I would say. The only other thing I would mention team-wise and play-wise in general is that I do find a theme of like the stronger, or strongest, I shouldn't say stronger, strongest players of the game are really good at finding stuff and pushing the game outside of that. So in the case of like, I mentioned base Vegeta and base Goku, right? There are people playing base Vegeta, and I know people who have played base Vegeta, people like Z-Rock, right, from EU, shouts to my boy. But I think the world put their eyes on base Vegeta after Sonic started playing base Vegeta. Another good example is Wawa with base Goku. Basically, everyone thought base Goku sucked still from Season 1. Base Goku was kind of incomplete in Season 1, but in Season 2, we didn't know how much better he got until Wawa put that character in the forefront. Alright, that was a good look back on the game at that point. I actually didn't know what to expect because I went into this blind, by the way. I was like, I'm not going to go look for Season 2 videos. I'm just going to pick something from like last April and see what it's like. It's definitely a different look compared to Season 1, and it's obviously a different look compared to now is what I would say, but the game actually looks kind of similar to Season 3 now. The main difference is, of course, we have more assists and more characters. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.